Welcome to Mr. Bogema's TNReady U.S. History Must-Knows. Topic today is Settling the West, Standard 1. There are two primary vocabulary terms that you need to know for the settlement of the West. Both of these terms occurred during and after the American Civil War, and their government policies passed by the Republican Party under Abraham Lincoln. The first policy is the Homestead Act. The Homestead Act encouraged Americans to settle the Western territories. The Western territories of the United States are in the central part of the country. These vast territories would become prime agricultural lands for the United States. The President and Congress wanted Americans to move west in order to turn these Western territories into states. Americans who did settle the West were given 150 acres. If they could farm it for 5 years and have proof from their neighbors that they had been on the land for 5 years and farmed it and built a farmhouse, they would be given the deed to the land. The second government policy is the Transcontinental Railroad. Transcontinental Railroad stretched from Nebraska to California. The government gave public lands to two railroad companies to construct this overland route across the country to connect California with the rest of the United States. Large groups of immigrant laborers were used to construct this railroad. The railroad starting in California was constructed by Chinese laborers. 90% of the workforce was Chinese. Of course, these Chinese laborers, many would become American citizens. The route was difficult and took many years. It would be the greatest engineering achievement of the United States up to this point. It's finished in 1869 when both railroad companies meet and the rail lines link in northern Utah at Promontory Point. Here we can see in this photograph some of the Chinese laborers that were used to construct this vast and great achievement. Let's look at some of our EOC questions pertaining to this standard. In this question, it asks, which of the following was the main reason for the rapid settlement of the Great Plains during the late 1800s? So this question is referring to the Homestead Act, which encouraged Americans west to claim public land so they could convert it into private property through farming. So we're looking for homesteading. The keyword's homesteading, which refers to the Homestead Act. So the answer here would be G. Our second question, pertaining to Standard 1, asks, which factor facilitated statehood for the darker shaded areas? So we have a map here that says years of statehood for selected states. You'll notice most of them are in the west and northwest. This is pertaining to the Transcontinental Railroad. The railroad allowed Americans to move west to settle these territories. So our correct answer would be B, the expansion of railway lines throughout the West. And that is it for Standard 1. Thank you.